Well, hello, everybody. My name is Alita Spire, and I'm an excited tower gardener. And I'm here tonight to introduce two amazing guys. I'm super proud of these guys. First one I'd like to introduce to you is the one on your right is Tim Blank. Tim, say hello, put a wave up.
Everybody, so happy to see you all on tonight. It's going to be a big night. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, Tim Blank serves as the Chief Technology Officer for the Tower Garden Company. It was almost 10 years ago that the Juice Plus company acquired the Tower Garden products from Tim's company called Future Growing. Tim's inspiration for vertical gardening and the future of food was ignited by his visit to the land hydroponic biome at Epcot Center 35 years ago. Tim, you don't look that old. After a visit to Disney, Tim went to have a 12-year career at the Walt Disney World Company, working with extraordinary leaders in the industry, such as USDA, Department of Education, and his most favorite, NASA. Together with Jay Martin, our company's founder, Tim and Jay created the Tower Garden Company, a company with the sole focus of empowering people to grow food in the comfort of their own home. Tim's belief is that the future of food addressing three basic principles: food sovereignty, which is taking control of your food supply; eating clean, healthy, super nutritious, pesticide-free food; and number three, transforming your health with whole food nutrition. We can't wait for Tim to share his thoughts tonight about the current global situation. And that's what each of us needs to do to be in control of our own health and food supply. Troy is on the left side of your screen. Troy, give a wave. Troy is coming to us live tonight from his world famous vertical aeroponic greenhouses in Mesa, Arizona. Troy Albright is a compound pharmacist by trade with a scientific understanding that food is medicine. After years of serving so many patients throughout Arizona, Troy realized that there was a lack of fresh, clean, local, organic food. Troy took the situation in his own hands, and in 2013, he built Arizona's largest indoor vertical aeroponic greenhouse, supplying the people of Arizona with fresh, clean, local food to this very day, even as a farmer's market on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I've had the opportunity to visit TrueGuard many times, and I can tell you his place is absolutely extraordinary. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Tim and Troy, but I got to tell you, I love these two guys. They completely educate our growers, and I know you're going to get a lot of wonderful information tonight. So I'm going to turn it right over to Tim.
All right, well, thank you so much, Alita. Welcome, everybody. Excited to have you in tonight. And I know we have a huge group that's live streaming into YouTube, and then this other group onto Zoom. So welcome both groups for sure. So excited to have you. I think at this moment in time, we're all aware of what's going on in the world. And I want to just turn it over to Troy for a minute. You know, he's right there, boots on the ground, talking to people. But Troy, why don't we let you start off tonight and just share your view of the state of the planet, what's going on right now. I know people have heard me share that the talk several times, but why don't you share from your perspective what's going on with the state of the planet and our food, and why we're all excited about the springtime's here. We're ready to start. You know, spring is very symbolic of birth. It's a kind of a spring as a natural renewal, and we're all excited about getting started with that beautiful garden. But why don't you, just as a precursor, tell us what's going on and why that would be important to all of us.
Well, thanks, Tim and Alita. You know, it's exciting to see behind me. These are seedlings that we're growing for everybody that here is in the United States. And we're excited to be bringing all those different types of seedlings to their doorstep, because we want people to just keep growing. You know, when I look at the state of the planet, there's a food shortage going on globally, but as well as here in the United States. You heard our own president talk about it, you know, to prepare for that. And then there's other chaos going on in the world too, disrupting all sorts of supplies coming in and out of the United States. And, you know, along with that, I don't know how many of you have been following, but the Southwest is in a major drought situation where our own Lake Mead, Hoover Dam up there is at its all-time low. So we know water is becoming more and more important, not just here in the United States, but also all over the world. There's a big report about Chile and China and South America, all these places not having enough water. We're very fortunate to have the ability to utilize the tower gardens to do this. And I look back when my wife and I took control of our own food supply 10 years ago. I had called up Tim and said, hey, I want to do this. Here in the United States, here in Arizona, the food desert, is this possible? And he said, yeah, we can do this. And so the structure that got built was a test pilot structure to show we can do this anywhere, even in this desert, high desert like we are here, as well as around the world. So we're excited about it. We took control of that. Our goal is to empower you to do this. Even though there's all this stuff going on around the world with food and other kiosks, we want to empower you to take control of growing your own food. And I'm showing you, you can do it. You can do it. You may not have to do it on this kind of grand scale, but each of you can take control of your food supply. And that's what it's about tonight, Tim.
Thank you, Troy. That's right on the money there. And one of the really beautiful things about something you just said, showing everybody your farm, is that we are the only technology in the world. The tower garden is one of the top technologies in the world for growing food at home, but also professional farmers, hundreds and hundreds of farmers around the world and across the United States are growing using the same technology. So when you grow food at home, you're actually using technology that commercial hydroponic farmers use. So Troy, it's so nice to see your greenhouse. For those of you that have known me for a while, that are some of you on this call are new, some of you have been around for a while, you've heard me do my State of the Planet talk. And going back to my years at Disney, it was clear to me the math, of it's certain math that as humanity increases in population, the earth becomes a small place. And we're seeing that with home prices now. There's not enough land. Home prices are going through the roof. And then we've got, boy, Troy, I'm even distracted by that beautiful bit of lettuce there. Good job. We have people growing the food like this all around the country. So for me, going back, it's step by step, I've watched food go up in price and materials go up in price. And so the tower garden was really developed to be a garden for life. So once you own your tower, it's like growing growing fruit foods like printing money. I mean, you can just keep harvesting and harvesting and harvesting. And for me, it was always about being in control of my food supply, going back 35 years ago and 2 decades ago, doesn't matter when. It's the grocery stores are inconsistent. Getting fresh, clean, healthy food just is always inconsistent. So prior to all this nonsense that's going on around the world, being in control of my food supply was important to me, my friends, my family, but especially with what's going on today. The writing's on the wall. For those of you that are from the Southwest and the West, actually understand this water crisis. Just every year, Lake Powell and Lake Mead continue to go down. And it's very unfortunate that the trajectory we're on is not good. And so using technologies that grow vertical, that use up to 98% less water, 90% less land, really is the future. That's what it's all about. And when I think about being in control of my food supply, I also think about things like food safety. I'm growing vertically up off the ground. Today, we don't know where our food comes from. So safe, clean food is a big deal. When we talk about water usage, the food growing on the tower there that Troy's showing is so beautiful, so clean. I personally don't even wash my food off, so I don't waste a lot of water doing that. They said some people growing and harvesting and processing a head of lettuce in some cases can take up to 30 gallons of water because you have to wash and process that food. And the other thing I would say is I'm just so proud and I feel good that growing a garden at home, especially a tower garden, it's called growing local. And it's the biggest thing you can do for planet Earth. And I just love all of you on the call tonight wanting to start your spring garden. You know, everyone's talking about electric cars and everything going on right now. And the greenest thing you can do is not go to the store and buy produce that had to travel 3,000 miles or from Peru or Bolivia and wrapped in boxes and plastic wrappers and air. It just is a massive carbon footprint. And the last decade, my family and I have literally been tower to table, 10-foot steps or less, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, literally. And I did say breakfast. We do Tower Garden smoothies at breakfast. So it's incredible. So we're all on this call. Spring has sprung. We're here. Let's talk about some spring growing tips, Troy. That's kind of the state of the planet. Everyone on here has an interest in growing food. So how can I help you? What can I do? Is that, you know, my background is a horticulturist and all the years of growing. I can't do everything tonight, but I want to do some very, very simple tips for you. One would be for those of you that are first-time gardeners, especially, or you're maybe new at tower gardening or hydroponic gardening, and you want just those, what are those basic tips for success? I'll give you 3 simple things to start. So we'll keep it simple, fun and simple tonight. One is sunlight. Plants need a lot of sunlight, so it's springtime, so find a spot in your yard that's a sunny location. That's generally your southern exposure. If you don't have a southern exposure, you want the most sun exposure you can get. You know, at least 5-6 hours of good strong sunlight on your garden is a really good thing. Now, for those of you that are growing in the desert Southwest, your springs are really getting hot and you're moving into summer. So for many of you, you want to look at growing your tower under possibly a 50% shade cloth. I know they have that material over at True Garden. That's also available online at True Garden. Some people in Phoenix, you have a lot of the mesquite trees and things like that. They're called semi-shade trees. It means that the leaves are very scattered, so a lot of sun still goes through those trees. So sometimes it's great to plant a garden under a tree like that, but as you all move into late spring, early summer, getting a little bit of shade on your tower is important. It's not a problem we deal with in the rest of the country where we have lots of cloudy weather and partially cloudy weather. So we get for the rest of the country, we get a lot of natural shading given the fact that we don't live in a desert. So now the next tip I would say, you know, great sunlight. The next one would be location. So one of the things that I would say was probably is the biggest, one of the most beautiful things about growing in this modular tower garden. You know, it's 5 or 6 feet tall, takes up a 30-inch footprint. I love putting a tower near an area where I'm going to see it every day. So sunlight comes first, but also location. Somewhere near my kitchen, somewhere near my back door. My wife Jessica and I have one right outside our glass door on the patio. When we sit and eat at our table, we are looking at the tower garden. When we invite our friends over, they eat a fresh, beautiful salad. It came from that beautiful tower garden sitting right outside the door. I have this one little tip. If you see it, you're going to eat it. Just makes perfect sense. Now, the last thing I would say, though, it probably just as equally an important tip is water. We want quality water. So this is an aeroponic system. We use up to 98% less water, but it needs to be clean, fresh water. So there's parts of the country, especially again for those of us on the West Coast. I know Phoenix, you have really hard water. There's other cities I know that pull from lakes now. So areas going through drought, your water tends to get harder and harder. For areas out east where there's a lot of rain, the water tends to get cleaner and more dilute. So from a mineral standpoint anyway. So if you're in one of those areas where you have hard water or you just are questioning, is that water good? I'd recommend one of those really good RV filters. You can go to the RV store, get them. They have a little hose that hooks up to either end. You fill your tower with it, you will really notice a difference. Whenever I have someone call me and say, I've just done everything right, but my tower just sits there, it just doesn't do much. And I say, I said, where do you live? Yeah, you know what, I've heard that before. That's a mountain town. They have a 2,000-foot well. It's coming out of the ground. It has a lot of minerals in it, or areas like Phoenix where they're pulling from the Colorado has a lot of minerals in it. So that's a really, really helpful tip. that you can do in relationship to growing. Make sure you've got clean water, really important. So sunlight, location, water, those are the top 3 tips for whether you're growing in a tower garden or a regular garden. Very, very simple. Now, next I want to talk about tips for a pest-free garden. Now, people that, sometimes have grown in a regular garden, they've gotten very discouraged because some bugs or rodents or even animals, if they live near a forest, a critter got in and ate the garden. Well, one of the most beautiful things is that when you grow vertically up off the ground in a tower garden, you're eliminating a lot of the soil-borne pests right away. So that's really, really nice. Also, if you put a little fence around your tower, if you've got deer or something, that I think Alita has javelina there in Phoenix or Scottsdale, and those guys can come along and eat the lower part of your tower as well. So a little fence around your tower can work. But if you want to grow in a pest-free tower garden or garden, I'd say one of the simplest tips is keep your tower garden harvested. Now, those beautiful towers you see behind me, those are vertical condominiums for plants. And each one of them has a limited amount of space. So we have people say, oh my gosh, I just love those lavender flowers or those beautiful purple chai flowers or whatever it is. And all of a sudden these crops just take over the tower. And whenever you have a big monster bushy tower, that's a hiding place for insects. So keep your tower pruned and cleaned up like the towers you see behind me. You want to harvest and eat it. And some people say, sometimes well, the number one problem with the tower is it grows so fast. I can't keep up with all the food and the harvesting from it. What do we do? And I said, well, you know what? Just grab that produce, cut it off, throw it in one of those bags you get at the grocery store, throw it on a neighbor's door with a note, and you're going to make a ton of friends doing that. So think about the time of day you work in your garden or your tower garden. Now, let's say you've got one of these yards, pests that bother vegetables like aphids and mites and things like that, they're all over weeds, not grass, but broadleaf weeds. And they are just, difficult. So if you don't want to go and landscape your yard and get your fingers all covered in mud and brush against some of those weeds or rose bushes or something, pick up some aphids, and then go work on your towers. I always go tell people, first thing you do in the morning and when you have time, when you're clean, you haven't been working in your yard, go work your tower, get all that stuff done first. Also keep an eye out for pets. I know people have dogs and I had a good friend who had rose bushes, and the dog would always go take care of his business over by the rose bushes and actually literally pick up aphids off the rose leaves. And then he'd love the tower and he'd go hang out by the tower and the vines went everywhere and the dog was literally spreading aphids to the tower. So just got to keep an eye out for how your pets have access to your towers, and that can be important. The last tip I would say for growing a pest-free garden is do not over fertilize. Now, we developed years ago the world's first one-size-fits-all hydroponic solution. Every picture you're seeing tonight, all these beautiful towers, we can grow everything from a beautiful head of lettuce to a beefsteak tomato. But the beauty of science and technology in relationship to aeroponics or hydroponics is we developed the perfect formula. So follow that label well. Tower garden is not one of those things where you want to, most Americans have a tendency of saying, I feel like I got a cold coming on, I'm going to double up on my vitamin C or my fruits and veggies and Juice Plus or whatever it is. We do not do that with Tower Garden Mineral Blend ever. It actually causes damage. It stresses our plant. And so we always want to make sure we are not over fertilizing and we are following the label precisely. Now, that's it for my simple springtime tips. I'm going to have Alita post up here in the comment box a link to Tower Garden 101. Now in this link, she'll be doing it here in a moment. In this link, we have everything about growing indoors or growing outdoors and everything in a relationship to how to mix your fertilizer for the season and all that kind of good stuff. Lots of, all the mistakes that I've made and other people have made, we've addressed in that Tower Garden 101. And it's all, now what do you have there, Lita?
This is the Tower Garden website first.
Okay.
And so there's some of the shopping things that, all the different you could probably just see this and scroll down. So we have all these different accessories. And
Okay, yes. Well, thank you for showing that. What I'd love, since you're showing us that right now, what I'd love to bring up is that just to help people understand the difference of what some of the things are that we have to offer. So when you go to towergarden.com, our mainly focus is selling the Tower Garden units, and so someone introduced you tonight to our products, and they have their own personalized franchise or distributorship that looks just like what Alita's showing you there. So we've got Tower Garden Home for growing indoors. That's that white unit there. And it has little grow lights that you can get with it. And then we have Tower Garden Flex, which is for outdoors. And the key difference is that Tower Garden Home is just a little bit more petite. It's perfect for growing indoors to replace an end table or chair or something like that. Now, Tower Garden Flex for growing outdoors, we've got lots of fun accessories for that, wheels and tomato cages. And you know, some people want to grow nice and tall outdoors, so they can get like a booster pump and some extra grow pots there and things like that. So our Tower Garden store is very simple. Your tower lands at your doorstep with everything you need to grow A to Z. In a little minute, and I'm going to take one in a little while, Lita. We'll show them a little bit more about what we can get from some of our farmers out there, some of the fun ancillary products that they have to grow. But I'm going to move next over to Troy. So Troy, would you tell us, I gave us all some springtime growing tips. Troy, can you tell us what some of your favorite crops are for growing in the spring, for starting off, for I would say for say the beginners on the call, the first timers who aren't even sure they can grow in a garden, to your more advanced gardeners?
Oh yes, Tim. When we start up with somebody that's a brand new tower gardener owner, we always talk to them about growing things that are very simple, things that almost grow on their own. And we start with all the leafy greens, the leafy greens, as you can see behind me, all the different varieties of lettuce, lots of varieties of kale. There's also your different herbs, basil. So we ask you to keep it simple. Don't get too many things going in one tower, because then that takes more work to manage. We always tell those that are like more people that have been farmers or people that have grown a lot of food, we always talk about then you start growing more crops. Those that are really master the tower, we say go ahead and plant 28 different things in your crops then in your tower, so that way you can really work on growing all these different crops. But so that's a major difference. We want the beginners to start with things that are easy so they can learn how to do it. And as you see all the different things behind me, these are the kind of things you can pretty much grow very simply here. You've got all the different hills. These things grow on their own, and they get to the point where when you can't see the plastic, it's time to harvest. So like this tower is getting pretty full here, and it's getting ready to be harvested. And so again, in our greenhouse, we can speed it up or slow it down based on temperatures and how we fertilize. This kale here, believe it or not, it's only 14 days old from a 3-inch seedling. So things are growing super fast this time of the year. It's just beautiful. You can go from a 3-inch seedling to a full head of plants in 21 to 28 days. So we get excited about that, and keep it simple. Grow the things you love to eat.
Yeah, that's super great advice, Troy. Thank you so much. And let me add on to that. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is growing with a purpose. To Troy's point, I can't tell you the number of times I've seen people, start in a tower and want to grow their entire fridge. And sometimes they might be, gosh, I'm doing all this work. I'm managing 28, 45 different crops, depending on the size of tower, they have 1 or 2 and how tall they are. And they say, well, what do you do at your house, Tim? I say, I grow with a purpose. I have 3 simple themes that I just love. There's a salad tower, there's an herb and cooking tower, and there's a juicing tower. And let me break that down, why I do that. I just love, you look at what Troy's looking at there, all these beautiful greens. And for those of us that grow in a tower garden, need to sell, we are not eating the salad that you buy at Safeway or Publix or anywhere like Kroger's. We are eating superfoods, salads that look like the towers that come off the back of us here, this beautiful, rich green food. We have more greens than we do lettuces that are just full of rich phytonutrients. This is so important. So there's so many people out there that are watching their weight, want to lose weight, and they know that in order to do that, they need to get a lot more fiber and greens and less carbs in their diet. So Salad Tower, great way to lose weight and get more phytonutrients and health into your life. There's a lot of people on this call tonight that are focused on cooking. They love to cook. They're passionate about being in the kitchen. So that's one of my favorite things. So I have an herb and cooking tower. What do I have on there? Things like basil, thyme, oregano, cilantro, parsley, chives, green onions, things that I spice up food with. Those are a lot of fun. And then our family does juices or smoothies every day. And I think almost, anyone, that's working out or associated with health and wellness is either juicing or smoothies every day. So all those greens that Troy, you might want to run past some juicing and smoothie green, the kales, the chards, the parsley. I mean, guys, these are the gifts that keep on giving in the Tower Garden. When you are, what does it say, kale, chard, parsley, you can literally cut those off of nonstop for easily a half a year and more off the Tower Garden. I mean, people who grow in a regular garden get a few cuts for the season, and that's it, and the season's over, and we're just getting pounds and pounds and pounds. I know moms before Tower Garden that spent $200 to $400 a week at Whole Foods for this healthy lifestyle, and they're doing it at home. That same spend they're doing for almost virtually free at home with just 1 or 2 Tower Gardens. So that's really cool when you think about it. Now, those are just the 3 simple towers of the purpose I can recommend for a beginner. Just a minute ago, I talked a little bit about what we have on our the franchisee website, the Tower Garden store. Our focus is to sell the key things, keep it fun and simple. Our Tower Garden show up at your doorstep with seeds, nutrients, starter cubes, everything you need to grow super successfully. But many of our farmers around the country have really helped support a lot of unique gardening products, like Troy there, for example. So I'd love for Alita, are you able to pull up the True Garden website for us real quick? And one of the things that True Garden does, along with many of our farmers around the country, is they literally ship tens of thousands of seedlings coast to coast, and I think even now to Hawaii and Alaska, Troy is. And I'm going to let Alita, when you go to the True Garden website, you click on shop and you go over to seedlings there, and you can see how beautiful this food looks. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So for people who are impatient and are instant gratification and want to start the garden now, I think True Garden has almost 200 different varieties of fruits and vegetables that they grow for all you Tower Gardeners, all over the United States. And I know a lot of the local people go and pick up their direct. It's always the best way. Now, if you think about this, these seedlings are growing in beautiful sunlight. And so when you pick it up and put it right into your tower, it does well. But you got to remember, for those of you that live on the opposite side of the country, if you order seedlings from True Garden, they're going to be banged around in a UPS, and I can tell you, for anybody who's shipped in UPS or FedEx, they're late. I mean, the whole pandemic and post-pandemic has been lateness, banged up boxes, and all kinds of stuff. So when you receive that box of little seeds, my one simple tip is seedlings, I should say. It's been in transit 2 to 5 days. It's been in the dark. New leaves have emerged. They're very tender. Do not, and I repeat, do not, when you receive that box, no matter what time of day it is, go and wait till the evening to the plant or early in the morning. Do not shock those plants by going out at noon in the middle of the hot sun and put them in your tower. Give them a break. Let them adjust a little bit, because, they did get shipped, and UPS and FedEx have not been friendly to shippers of anything, let alone some of those things. Now, one of the other things that True Garden does for us, Lita, if you could go to the little grower store, I forget what tab that is, if you could help us, the little grow supplies, the ancillary products, where they have lots of fun things that we don't sell. So if you want organic pesticides and all those little different things, you can see they have on there, and some of those little water filters and stuff. But I want to turn it over to Troy next. And Troy, could you tell us, like, what's your, top 1 or 2 favorite things that people love to come to your store and get? What would be something that we don't sell at towergarden.com that would be really helpful for everybody in some way or another?
Well, Tim, you really touched on it. As we go into spring and then summer, we all start taking vacations. The first thing I always want to talk about, there was that the water filter, the Gator, the Garden Grow rain shower Gator filter. Again, if you have clean water, it starts with clean water, and you'll get even better results, flavors, and things like that in your tower. So as you harvest. So
now, Troy, can I just to verify? So I know for those people that live local, they come to your shop and pick up, and all these things on the website, these are available for quick mail order, correct? If someone wanted one?
That is correct.
Okay,
We're constantly shipping
all right.
these supplies all over the United States.
Yep.
The other thing is we're all, antsy to take vacations, and we have that float valve kit there that Lita has right on screen. So that has been designed, that's something you designed way back when, and we carry it, and that allows you to fill your reservoir while you're not there. So that way your tower doesn't run out of water. And that's one of the biggest issues. I see people, they go on vacation, they have the neighbor boy come over, and he's very quick and checks everything and then leaves, but he forgets to check the tower and make sure there's water. So we have this float valve kit that works great. There's a multi kit that has enough for 3 towers, and then you can daisy chain them. So that was something you developed way back, a decade ago, and we love it. And it's a great way to bring water when you're not there.
Yeah, no, that's it. And that just to be clear for everybody too, that's new, the tower garden, the water in the tower garden lasts a long time. I mean, if you transplant seedlings in your tower garden outdoors, you could easily have water up for a couple of weeks. And when they get, obviously, as the plants get larger, they use more water. So what I love about the auto flow kit that Troy talked about for people saying, I just don't want to start my tower now and we're going to take a late May vacation or June vacation. And that's the beautiful thing of that float kit. Now, it doesn't fertilize, but that's all right. You've got fertilizer there, and it'll definitely get you through till you get back. And a lot of people don't have someone that can stop over, and that just hooks up to your hose bib and just automatically, actually keeps your tower garden at full with the 20 gallons of water. So now, finally, what I would, I know we have to wrap up. That's it for time tonight. We try to keep these at 30 minutes. So thank you, Troy, for just coming to us from that beautiful stellar greenhouse in Phoenix, Arizona. And you're growing 365 days out of the year when it's just that, believe it or not, for those of you that haven't been to Phoenix, it gets to be 120 degrees in the summertime, up to pretty hot. Nights times are, they're as hot as 90 degrees. I remember getting off in August to visit Troy as we were building the greenhouse, and I stepped off the plane at midnight in Phoenix. It was 90 degrees, and I'd never experienced anything of that in my life. I said, how is this hot? It's possible. It's pitch black, and I'm like just sweating getting off the airplane. But I'd also come from Santa Monica from that trip, so I'm a little bit spoiled there sometimes if you're coming from an area that's nice. So thank you, Troy, for doing this for us. And again, we appreciate y'all. And Alita is going to post a little link up there, or it will be in the recording for our Tower Garden 101 that Steve Williams and I did. And that really is just basically for those of you that have listened to this call, and I know there's a million questions out there. How high can I go? What can I do indoors? What can I do outdoors? I couldn't take notes fast enough, Tim. What were those types of gardens that you wanted? We go through those all nice and slowly in a really fun and exciting little 1 hour Tower Garden 101. Any question that you have right now is probably going to be in that video, and I want to make sure Alita puts it up there for you. And just while she is doing that, just wanted to remind everybody that I know someone invited you tonight, and we appreciate all those hardworking partners or representatives out there that grow in tower gardens, eat in tower gardens, and make them readily available to everybody. So if you're excited about starting a garden and you want to grow food this spring and you want to become food sovereign and secure, and regardless of what's going on in the world, we want to be in control of our food supply, first and foremost for our own health and for our food security. So get with that person who invited you, and they are definitely going to help you figure out what to get for your backyard. Or I know there's a bunch of people on this call, by the way, we didn't talk about it tonight because spring has sprung, but there's many of you living in a condo or apartment, and you just simply don't have a place outside to plant a garden. Well, we have Tower Garden Home for you with state-of-the-art LED grow lights. And I don't know where they're on the website right now. If we have been so busy since a lot of these global situations started, we sometimes get a 1 or 2 week delay on our grow lights. Do not worry about it. Get your orders in, get them placed. We constantly have supplies showing up. The supply chain issues have been a global problem, not just a Tower Garden problem. And when your product is in demand, like I think I drove by a Toyota dealership the other day, and it looked like the dealership had closed. Still, there's no cars on the lot. So we have a whole team of people working hard to get supplies to us, and we're excited to get you growing this spring. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Alita, for putting this all together again.
Well,
Tim,
thank
it's always
you
great
all
to do this.
for joining us tonight, and really, like Tim said, talk to the person who invited you to this call. And also the Tower Garden 101 is on our insights there. It's on the Arizona page. It's a lot of places. My computer is doing some funny things right now, but know that we are here for you. And when would be our next call, Tim and Troy? Do you know?
It'll be probably in another month, and
Yes.
we will pick our subject here shortly. In fact, I'd say for everybody on the call tonight, or if you're watching this recording, why didn't you get back to Troy or Alita and tell them what you would like to hear us talk about next month, and we will probably pick the most requested item, and that's what we will talk about a month from now.